All right, welcome to another edition of 10 Minutes or Less. I'm here with Salem-Keizer Volcanoes right-handed pitcher Chris Johnson. Chris, this is your second year now in Salem, so you're playing with the same team, same stadium, but your stats are much different. You're having a great year so far. Talk about what's been the difference so far in 2013 to help you put up these numbers.
I think it's been a lot of stuff. I've made a couple small tweaks with my mechanics. I'm throwing basically the same arsenal of pitches, except all my fastballs now are two seams, trying to get more movement on the ball rather than try to get every ounce of velo I can and not quite know where it's going. I'd rather have a fastball I can control and maybe get some ground balls with. And I think a lot of it just comes down to confidence and mindset and preparation too. A lot more confident this year. I have a better idea what I'm doing out there. I'm a lot smarter in terms of how I attack hitters and what I want to do and how I think about trying to get them out. So I think it's a lot of stuff, just a combination of those three or four things.
So you say you dropped the four seam and started going with mostly the two seam. Where were you, what velocity were you throwing your four seam at, and now what are you pretty much sitting at with your two seam?
Well, right now my it's pretty similar. My velocity with fastball is anywhere from 89 to 91, 92 miles an hour. Last year it was pretty much the same. I had the ability to maybe touch 93 or occasionally 94, but I feel like throwing the two seam is a lot easier for me to get the ball down in the strike zone and throw more strikes. With the four seam, I felt like I had a tendency to leave it up a lot more, and it wasn't getting a lot of movement, and I think it was just a lot easier for guys to hit.
And what kind of movement are you getting on that two seam? A little bit of a sinking action?
Yeah, it's more of a sinker.
Okay.
Get some good depth on the ball with a little bit of run. Honestly, it kind of varies day by day, but as long as I'm getting some sort of movement on the ball in the strike zone, I think it's going to help me out a lot.
Tell me about your other pitches that you throw.
I throw a curveball, a slider, and a changeup. My curveball is more of a early in the count, get me over, throw it for a strike, and then my slider tends to be my go-to put-away pitch as far as getting a strikeout. I can throw that. I like throwing that to both righties and lefties, and the same kind of thing with my changeup. Righties and lefties, predominantly left-handed hitters. It's something just to kind of change the eye level of the hitter and keep them off balance, and I tend to get some swing and misses on that too when I throw it the way I like to.
Now, with you being from Washington, you're familiar with the Pacific Northwest. What's it like being able to play 2 straight years here in an area that you're pretty familiar with? I mean, you went to the University of Portland, so you know the area pretty well. How has it been in that regard, in terms of the comfortability of your just professional career so far, and how much are you looking forward to going somewhere else next year?
It's been fun these last couple of years, being able to play so close to home. It gives my friends and family a good opportunity to come down and watch me play, and friends from college. And yeah, like you said, I'm pretty much familiar with most of the spots where we go to play at, so that I think that helps a lot in terms of preparation, knowing what to expect. Even when you go on the road, kind of knowing where all the spots are. But like you said, I think it's been fun, definitely the last couple of years, but I'm definitely looking forward to going somewhere else next year.
Now, you moved from the bullpen into the starting rotation towards the end of last year. Describe that transition for me. It was
a little different. Having been a starter the majority of my college career in the last 2 years, my sophomore and junior year at University of Portland, I was strictly a starter. It's difficult, but at the same time, it's still about pitching and getting guys out. Going back and forth like that, it really only affects your preparation and how you get ready for a game, stuff like that. But I think when you're on the mound, it doesn't matter whether you start the game or coming in the 3rd inning, 5th inning, or 7th inning. I think you still have to have a plan to get hitters out and use what you have as far as pitches effectively.
Being here for your second year, you went through your first year where you were the new kid here, and now you're seeing guys like Chase Johnson and Pat Young come up, and they're in the same position you were last year. How has it been to kind of encourage them and help them through this time? Have you seen yourself kind of be a leader in this rotation?
Yeah, I think you have to having seeing those guys having their first experience of pro ball, you kind of see. I mean, I saw what I was doing last year, and I think it's different being on the other side of that this year. You kind of you know what to expect, and you kind of get to see, how these guys go about their business, like we all did last year. It's definitely different, and it's a fun experience. And I do see myself as, kind of a leader on the staff, and try to, give them little pointers and things I can just help them out through their daily routines whenever I can.
What are some of those pointers that you've been given, and maybe stuff that you noticed that you did last year that you wouldn't want guys doing this time around?
I mean, I think just, maybe not taking so long to warm up or something like that. Just real little stuff like that can help them out through the course of a season, really. I mean, I felt at times last year I didn't have a routine when I was starting that really, fitted what I wanted to do. And, whenever they have a question, like, as far as that, like, how long do you go out, throwing before you start? I think I have a pretty good routine now, so I can help answer that. And I definitely know where they're coming from last year, having not quite built that routine yet as a starter, especially, when it comes down to a 5-man rotation like we are now. That was the biggest adjustment for me last year. In college you're pitching once a week, and now it's every 5th day, so you got to do a lot. You got to focus a lot harder on getting your body ready every day to be able to make that start on the 5th day.
What sort of things do you do, or you guys as starters collectively do, to get your body ready for a start, every 5 days?
Well, we have a pretty set routine as far as that goes. We pitch, then the next day we come in and lift and go on a run. The day after that we have a bullpen, and then the day following that we lift again, and then the day after that, which is the day before you start, it's more of a rest day. Relax, try to get you ready for that start. But I think, your body's in college, it's not ready for that. You have 2 extra days to be able to rest. Now with a 5-man, it's kind of just constant.
Yeah.
You're constantly going. So I think it takes your body takes some time to get adjusted to that.
But after a while, you guys do get into that routine, and it just feels like you're kind of rolling through
Yeah,
the
I mean, like now I'm completely acclimated to it.
Right.
And I've gotten used to, the whole routine. I think the first, month or 2 where you're doing it is where it takes some adjustment, and you gotta, like I said earlier, focus hard on getting your body ready, because only you know what your body, what you need to do to get ready for the start. There's not a set plan that works for everybody. So I think you got to know your body and know what you need to do as far as getting ready for that start.
Now, Chris, looking at your stats, the most standout thing to me, and I think to a lot of people who are paying attention to guys in the minors, is your walk to strikeout rate,
right?
Or just your low walks in general. Just 5 so far this year, in 58 innings. Talk about how important it is to have command and control with your pitches.
That's something I take a lot of pride in. It's not walking guys, because I think one of the old sayings is, if you lead off an inning with a leadoff walk is always going to score. So I think that's a big reason for my success. Walks, you're just giving them bases. If the guys are going to get on base, that's going to happen. But I'd much rather have it be a hit where the guy, or I make a pitch and he beats me on that. That I can live with that. But I don't want to, go out and give him bases, and I think that's been the biggest key for me. I think in me having a good year so far, is being able to limit those free passes.
I'll end with this one last question, Chris. You've obviously been pitching for a long time, so I bet pitching is probably the most exciting thing for you about baseball. But other than that, other than being out on the mound, what sorts of things are special to you about this game?
I think just having people in the seats cheer for you. I was fortunate enough to, a couple days ago, to play in the Northwest League All-Star game up in Everett, which is about 30 minutes from my house, and I had a lot of fans there, and they're all wanting your autograph and screaming for you. I think that was pretty special. And anywhere you go, there's some real cool spots in this league where there's a lot of fans. Spokane and Vancouver, those fans, they can be pretty hostile to you. But I think that's even, like, in some respects, that's even better. Having people that care that much about what you're doing, coming out and supporting you, and even rooting against you, can be really fun. Yeah.
Well, this has been another edition of 10 Minutes or Less. Thanks to Chris Johnson for taking the time to talk today.
No problem.